Slade. Well, it's no April Fool's joke. Confirmed COVID-19 cases surpassed 200 across Montana today. Just this morning, confirmed cases reached 208. That's an additional 10 since Tuesday afternoon. Total deaths remain at 5. Just this morning, Gallatin County moved to 76 confirmed cases. Yellowstone County is next at 32. We are 2.5 weeks in from the first confirmed Montana case on March 13th. More than 4,900 people have been tested so far across the state. The number of those hospitalized remains at 17 as of this morning. Now, the White House's coronavirus task force today warning the worst is yet to come in the fight against this pandemic. Natalie Brand is at the White House with the very latest.
As we're saying, John, this could be a hell of a bad 2 weeks.
The president says extending social distancing guidelines for the next 30 days is a matter of life and death. But even with restrictions in place, modeling shows 100 to 200,000 people could still die in the U.S.
We don't accept that number, that's what's going to be. We're going to be doing everything we can to get it even significantly below that.
One possible new measure could be asking Americans to wear masks once the supply increases.
We've asked the CDC to take another look at whether or not having more people wear masks will prevent transmission of the disease to other people.
While most states have issued stay-at-home orders, there is still no plan for a national mandate.
If you're never within 6 feet of any single individual, then you've controlled the virus.
President Trump and Defense Secretary Wed Apr will hold a conference call this afternoon with service members and their families as the response and threat of COVID-19 impacts the military.
We are going to take care of our people. That's job number one.
The Department of Defense is now dealing with an outbreak aboard the USS Theodore Roosevelt. The ship's captain sent an urgent letter saying, "We go to war with the force we have and fight sick," but added that sailors don't need to die and called it an unnecessary risk to keep them on board.
Is it time to evacuate that ship?
I don't think we're at that point, Nora. At this point in time, we're trying to make sure that we contain the virus, that we deploy testing kits so we get a good assessment of how much of the crew is infected, and then, of course, taking other measures to ensure we can get the carrier up and ready again to continue its mission.
The Roosevelt is currently in port in Guam, and the infected sailors have been taken off the ship. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Acting Navy Secretary Thomas Modly told CNN the Pentagon is working with Guam to find hotel space and even create tent-type facilities to house the sailors if they are taken off the ship. Well, as the state continues to fight against the spread of coronavirus, Montanans will not be kicked out of their homes or penalized. Yesterday, Governor Steve Bullock issued a directive banning evictions, foreclosures, and late fees. Now, that directive just in time, as for many, rent and mortgage is due. Many Montanans have been laid off, and applying for unemployment can take weeks, but there is some hope with property management companies offering different options.
And we see it right now. Sometimes the very worst circumstances bring out the very best in people. And if we're going to get through this together as a nation, as a state, and as a community in Great Falls, Montana, we have to have each other's backs.
The world's busiest airport has lost more than half of its traffic because of the coronavirus outbreak. Officials say flights are down by 60% at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International. The airport usually sees about 2,700 arrivals or departures per day, but now it's down to about 1,100. Hartsfield-Jackson handled about 107 million travelers in 2018. Well, the Montana airline industry is also taking a big hit with the spread of COVID-19. Missoula International Airport is a testament to that. Russ Thomas explains.
March and April are typically a busy time for Missoula International Airport, as many leave Missoula during spring break while snowbirds begin flying in for the warmer months ahead. This spring, the airport looks like a virtual ghost town, thanks to ramped-up restrictions and coronavirus fears.
The trend has certainly been downward. We're averaging about 100 passengers a day now across all airlines and all flights.
With less airport foot traffic in Missoula, across the country and across the world, air carriers are having to make unprecedented adjustments, including greatly reducing the number of flights to fill seats.
The airlines are scrambling just like we all are, and what we're seeing is that you're seeing a daily kind of ad hoc canceling of flights, if you will. I think their goal is to generally try to consolidate passengers onto a single flight, so instead of 4 daily Seattle flights, you might just see 1.
Jensen says the impact of the reduction of passengers and flights has brought a sudden adjustment in revenue, budgeting, and staff hours.
This affects us across all areas of the operation, and pretty radical changes, unlike anything we've ever seen before.
Jensen says he expects the reduction in flights and passengers will continue through April and May. In Missoula, Russ Thomas, MTN News.
Thanks, Russ. It's time now to check in on the weather scene, and a good afternoon to Rob Griggs. Well, Rob, some parts of Montana more snow than others.
Yep, and you can see on the map right now with all the watches and warnings where the concentration of all of that snow is. Take a look at this right now. A lot of these advisories and warnings have already popped off the map, but you notice a lot of purple and pink from central toward eastern Montana, especially in southeastern Montana. At least that's going to be the case a little later on. We'll talk about those watches and warnings in just a couple of minutes, but I want to show you where the concentrations of snow between Jordan, Glasgow, Glendive, and even Miles City. Down there toward southern Montana between Billings, Livingston, and Cody, Wyoming, you see some more snow developing, and that's what's coming up on us here for the later part of the day. You can see where the remaining snowfall is expected between now and noon tomorrow. Most of that is going to be in Wyoming, but it might eke into Montana just a little bit. A complete forecast in just a little bit. Janelle?
All right, thanks, Rob. Well, Montana rattled by a 6.5 magnitude earthquake with an epicenter in Idaho. Take a look. This video comes from a reporter working from home in Boise. People felt the earthquake in western Montana as far east as Great Falls. Now, it struck northeast of Boise just after 6 o'clock last night. As of now, there have been no reports of injuries, thank heavens. Well, we have more ahead on your statewide noon news. We meet some young Montanans who are stepping up and coming together to help others at times like this. Time now is 12:06, but first, Rob's up next with your statewide weather forecast.
Now, here's your Storm Tracker weather forecast with Rob Griggs.
Well, good Wednesday afternoon. This close to Easter, we have plenty of blues and pinks to show you here on the board. Just the wrong kind of blues and pinks. However, it is clearing up, and so let's get right to it and show you what's happening here. We've got winter storm warnings still posted in southern Montana for the Beartooth-Absaroka Range. That's going to be in effect till 6 a.m. on Friday. And central Montana, these winter storm warnings will be in effect probably till about 3 o'clock this afternoon. You notice several of them have already expired right as we crossed into the noon show here. As far as winter weather advisories are concerned, we have some purple on the map. That shows where those winter weather advisories, this one just dropped off the map just moments ago, but the rest of this is all going to expire around 6 o'clock this evening, and then all the way through midnight tomorrow night down here in southeastern Montana and northeastern Wyoming, because that's kind of where that snow is going to be grinding away. Let's look around the state just briefly here. Travel up to Helena for a moment. We got cloudy skies, north winds at 13 miles an hour, but with a base temperature of 17, it feels like 4 degrees. Isn't that pleasant on the 1st of April? No fooling. It's kind of cold. 27, there is some sun breaks. I wouldn't say it's quite that bright and cheery right now in Butte. Might get there here, but right now we got some cloud cover and some sun breaks. 3-mile-an-hour winds right now from the southwest. That still keeps us right at about 27 degrees, which isn't too bad. Current conditions around the state, there are some sunshine poking through from Missoula all the way down toward Dillon. We might start to see a hint of sunshine there in northern Wyoming, even out here in portions of eastern Montana. But look at these temperatures. 12 right now at Great Falls, 10 at Cut Bank. As I say, Helena's at 17. Missoula, though, that's the banana belt for this hour. They're at 35 degrees. Is it colder now than it was yesterday? Boy, howdy. Yeah, it really is. Look at this. 30 degrees colder in Lewistown than 24 hours ago. 31 degrees colder over in Great Falls. 33 degrees colder in Miles City and in Glendive. So, yeah, it's definitely feeling that chill for us all the way around the state. Most of the wind out here in eastern Montana following that low pressure system. A couple of places I've mentioned. Worland, Wyoming had a 22-mile-an-hour wind gust in the last hour or so. And Kalispell also near the lake there, 26-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And as we're seeing the cold temperatures settle in for another day or so, this cold front that brought all of that in here, along with Pacific moisture slowly edging out of the region, we'll see another batch of snow develop right down here, and that's going to just continue to circulate and wrap around snow into southeastern Montana, northeastern Wyoming, at least through tomorrow morning, but eventually that'll dissipate and move on following that low pressure system as it continues to trek to the east. Cold temperatures are going to stay in place all the way through tomorrow. A slight warming trend out there in western Montana, and eventually that warming trend will make it in as we head into the weekend. But temperatures across the state will be at or slightly cooler than average as we head into the weekend. Forecast map today shows areas of wind, and of course with temperatures in the teens to the 20s, 30s, even a couple of 40s showing up around here, there could be some issues of wind chill. Tonight, wind chill will be a factor. 5 above to 10 below zero in some cases, because we have a lot of single digits popping up on the map as well as the teens. Snow showers will be tapering off as we get in toward early tomorrow morning. And although the snow for the most part will have tapered off and a lot of the wind will have backed off as well, you notice the daytime highs tomorrow a little bit on the chilly side. It might not even get up to freezing at many locations around the state for the 2nd of April. So let's see if the weekend's any better. Our extended forecast: Kalispell, Great Falls, Missoula, and Helena. Common denominator, more snow showers tapering off today, and temperatures tapering as we get in toward the weekend. Actually tapering in toward Thursday. They'll start to improve a little bit as we get into the weekend. Butte, Glendive, Bozeman, Billings, same story, kind of chilly overnight. Janelle?
All right, thanks so much, Rob. Well, in the midst of all this global trouble, 2 young girls in Bozeman, both in quarantine with their families, are not letting this stop them. MTN's Cody Boyer shows us how they've found a creative and inspirational way to stay connected.
In times of trouble, sometimes it takes the minds of some of the youngest people out there to bring everybody together. I found that here in Bozeman, between 2 5-year-old girls and their signs.
Interesting way to develop friendships during COVID-19, right?
For 5-year-old Mallory Amarain, her brother Nolan, her parents and grandparents, isolation has kept them within their own windows.
They wore out tired.
Mallory is great at playing war and flapjack.
But as Mallory's mom Sarah puts it, Mallory wanted a friend.
We just moved to the neighborhood. We haven't met many of our neighbors since they can't play together. They put some messages in the window.
Mallory knew that fellow 5-year-old Harper Murray lived just yards away. So out came the markers.
We said, "Harper, what does that spell?" And she said, "It says Harper."
Harper's dad saw it first, but it was Harper who returned the message.
She got Mom and Dad to help out quite a bit too.
It's now a thing. Each day the 2 girls send messages equipped with tigers and lots of color.
I know she's been excited. She'll run up to the window and see if there's something new.
It was great to see, some interaction in the smile on her face, so it really just made Mom and my heart kind of melt.
A small way to reach out to a friend in a time where being close can't happen. And now Harper is spreading the message in another way.
Harper's been drawing more of those, sending it to our friends and family, and we've got them up on several windows too.
From window to window, that to Mallory's parents means so much more.
If you can bring a little happy to your neighbors, why not in a time like this?
In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
That is awesome. Great job, girls and moms and dads. Well, Russell Nimitz is reporting from home. Your latest ag news is coming up next. Stay with us.
Now, here's your Farm and Ranch report from the Montana Ag Network.
Well, hi everybody, it's time for your Farm and Ranch news. Well, a new poll by Farm Journal shows that farmers and ranchers are concerned about the uncertainty in livestock and commodity markets, the financial stability of their businesses, and of course the health of their families and their workforce. The recent poll gauged farmer responses regarding top issues surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic. Survey results showed 90% of farmers and ranchers say they expect the coronavirus to impact their business, while only 30% have a fear of becoming sick themselves. Many express concerns about family and friends in higher risk categories. And 1/3 of respondents said they've been directly impacted by the disease. In some other news, this week the USDA released its 2020 Prospective Plantings Report, and here in Montana it looks like farmers planted 1.6 million acres of winter wheat, but that would actually be down from 2 million acres last year. As for spring crops, Montana farmers intend to plant 3.3 million acres of spring wheat, which would be up 400,000 acres from last year and the highest since 2002. The Montana Wheat and Barley Committee's Cassidy Marn says the planting challenges of last fall would be a great indicator of why winter wheat acres are down and spring wheat acres are up here in 2020.
We anticipated a big spring wheat number just because we weren't able to get the winter wheat in that we wanted to last fall. But it is a big number. 3.3 million acres is a lot of spring wheat acres for us.
Meanwhile, durum acres are expected to be 570,000 acres this year, up 20,000 acres from last year. And at 11 million acres, barley is up 90,000 acres and the highest since 2003. Stay with us. We'll have more ag news right after this. For the second straight year, the National Pork Producers Council has canceled the World Pork Expo. Canceled last year to avoid the spread of African swine fever, this year's event is one of the many interrupted by the global COVID-19 national emergency. NPPC announced the cancellation earlier this week due to coronavirus human health concerns. World Pork Expo is the world's largest pork-specific trade show where more than 20,000 industry professionals gather for 3 days to showcase innovations, introduce new products, and participate in training and educational programs. By the way, World Pork Expo 2021 is scheduled for June 9th through the 11th at the Iowa State Fairgrounds in Des Moines. And finally today, as we all come together in this time of need, it looks like more American companies are doing the same. Another great example is Carhartt, which says it'll shift production to produce masks and gowns for hospitals during the coronavirus pandemic. Carhartt will begin producing equipment on Monday, April 6th, and the plan includes 50,000 medical gowns, and on April 20th, the company will begin production on 2.5 million masks. Carhartt officials say serving and answering the call during times of need has always been an integral part of Carhartt's history, and it's why consumers have trusted them to have their back for more than 130 years. Well, that's going to do it from the Ag Desk. Have a great day.
Thanks so much, Russell. Now, Kalispell teacher doing all she can to make sure her students stay upbeat during this difficult time. She's dressing up as her favorite Disney character and singing positive messages to her students. Take a look. This is Stillwater Christian school teacher Jasmine Chase, who changed the lyrics of the popular Disney song Part of Your World. Chase is one of many teachers who has an empty classroom and no students after Governor Steve Bullock instructed all schools closed to stop the spread of coronavirus. So she's been working from home and changed the lyrics to fit with missing her students and wishing they were back in her classroom.
We really need to be creative and use whatever talents we have to let people know that we're there for them, that we support them. I want my students to know that I love them even though I can't be with them. I want my parents to know that I'm still here and that it's going to get better, and to give that hope and to be that light.
Chase said it took her several hours to change all of the lyrics. The video has thousands of views and hundreds of shares, and she hopes that video brings positivity and hope to her students. Just like our Rob Griggs, he brings hope and optimism to us every day.
And I shed the red wig just for the weather, but it's going back on this afternoon. Yeah, okay. Well, we have some optimism because the snow that we've seen across the state is moving its way out of here. We still have advisories out in eastern Montana. Those will probably be expiring later on today, and maybe a few in southeastern Montana until maybe even tomorrow night. So there's still some weather coming in for Wyoming. Temperatures across the region today, anywhere from the teens to the 20s, the 30s, and the 40s. Tonight's going to be a cold one. Wind chills anywhere from 5 above to about 10 degrees below zero at many locations as we get very close to zero. In fact, 2 below zero for Lewistown will be an overnight low. And as we look ahead for Thursday, well, we start to see the sun come back out. It's going to be a cold day, but one more day before we begin to warm up a little bit as we head in toward the weekend. Won't it be nice to be back in the 40s and 50s again with some outdoor sunshine?
Oh my goodness, yes. Wash your hands, keep your distance, and stay safe, Montana. We'll see you tomorrow.